Hi, good afternoon to our viewers, and welcome also to our panelists, and including our moderator. One of our panelists is struggling with the network, so Pam, she might join us later, but she's not with us at the moment. But what I want to raise is the fact that today we are talking about women taking leadership positions in organizations. And I think most of the organizations now are becoming brave to appoint women in decision-making positions. And we need to celebrate that. We need to celebrate their appointment, but also we need to celebrate the fact that those organizations are doing what South Africa expects and make sure that gender equality is a thing of our achievement. So today, sit back and let's participate in the chats so that we can actually ask the right questions. How did they make it? How did they end up getting their positions? What is that you have to do in order to qualify to apply for a certain job? Let's just have an open discussion and gain more knowledge from those who have applied and got their positions. And it's very much exciting because of we are now talking about women sitting in those decision-making positions, and let's hear from them. Over to you, facilitator, moderator Karabo.
Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Sure, Ma, thank you so much for asking me to do this again. I am really honored, and I think that we're just going to learn and take out a lot from this. It's COVID times, and it's difficult to get jobs. People are losing jobs, so it's very important to know right now the things that you need to do. So I think we're going to get a lot from our great panel of phenomenal women. So I'm excited, and I don't know who to introduce first because they're all so important, and there's so much to learn from each and every one of them. And, without any order, no hierarchy whatsoever, I think let's start it off by introducing Dumisani Chauke, who is the first female to hold the position of HOD of sports, and she is at the TUT, the Ga-Rankuwa campus. Hey, Dumi.
Hi, Karabo.
How you doing? Looking good as always.
How are you?
I am great. Thank you for making the time to join us once again.
That's a great opportunity. I cannot wait for our engagements.
Yeah, most definitely. And then Kimara Singh also joins us right now, who is the media and communications manager at Marty Sports. Hey, Kimara.
Hi, Karabo. Nice to be here. I'm so excited for this panel session.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. And then we also have Lydia Munyebao, who is the Chief Operations Officer at SAFA. Hey, Lydia. All right. Lydia, I think your mic is muted because we can't hear you.
Voila.
There we go. There we go.
Good afternoon, Karabo. Good afternoon, everyone. As I was saying earlier, I really look forward to these engagements and the discussions to follow. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies. And thank you to you that is watching as well. Thank you for making the time to watch. Remember, you can also have a say. You can post your comments. So you can also ask questions if you're tuned in via Facebook or on YouTube. So you can get in touch there as well. So, ladies, we're going through some uncertain times, periods where we're unfamiliar with, COVID-19 is here, and people are losing lives, people are being sick, people are losing jobs. But at this moment, especially for you guys and a whole lot more, there's still so much to celebrate because you guys are occupying positions, and a lot of people right now are saying that there's so few opportunities or no opportunities at all. And sports is really affected by COVID-19 on the field of play. So we'll find out, behind the scenes, how are things going there. But just to talk more about this, has a reality sunk in looking at the new positions that you hold? I think, Dumi, let's start with you.
Reality, what is that? I think also it's not a matter of a new position. It's a matter of doing things in my previous position to now being someone who has now being assigned the responsibility to lead, guide, and be accountable to other staff members. So it's just a shift in mindset. Luckily, it's not a new thing because if you are working in such an environment where you need others to work with you to achieve a certain goal, team sports has taught me that teamwork makes the dream work, and it's just about taking into consideration all the variables and elements that might affect the team dynamics or might make the team dynamics to be one that is conducive and productive. And that is the angle that I'm going into this position with. It's a team sport. Everyone has a part to play.
Most definitely. And what's your take with, we're making it a big deal as well that you are the first female to hold this position of HOD. How are you taking this in? How are you feeling about the fact that you're the first female?
Well, initially, it gave me goosebumps, and then all that excitement wore off, and then the actual responsibility and the heaviness of this burden then sunk in because being a first of many comes with a lot of accountability and responsibility. Number one, it's a great opportunity for me to be breaking barriers, breaking down doors, breaking ceilings, and showing those not necessarily coming after me, but those around me, because I can't always just talk about those coming after me.
Sure.
Those around me that we as females have as much a right as the men do in being in these positions to make decisions because yes, men sit on those positions and they make decisions about us and women's sport. We need to have our own voices, our own people representing our needs um, at those platforms. So, yeah, it sank in a bit, but it's a huge responsibility because also now that I'm a female, you can just imagine how everyone is going to be watching like a hawk to see how this female handles this new responsibility. Remember, we have the added responsibility that we are mothers, we are wives, we are girlfriends. Some of us are even studying. And now on top of that, you have the responsibility to be a leader. The nice thing also again is that we as females really know how to multitask, so
Yeah.
we'll be okay.
Yeah, I fully
Yeah.
agree. And Lydia, for you, has that also sunk in? I remember when the announcement was made, I can never forget that picture where it was you and it was just men, next to you. Is that what it's like in the office as well? And has reality sunk in that you now occupy that position of Chief Operations Officer at SAFA?
Yeah, Karabo, look, reality has sunk in. It had to sink in very quickly, to be honest, because there's a lot of work to be done. One can't be celebrating getting the position. The celebrations finish, and then you need to get into the nitty-gritty of doing things. Yes, and I started, and I'm currently learning the environment, obviously, to see, what is going on because I have not been in the football environment on that level in many years. So I'm busy learning the environment, having meetings with the current employees, trying to understand what is going on, and where do I need to fill in the gaps. Where are the gaps and where do I need to fill in? Obviously, I think that is the most important thing for me to do, familiarize myself with the environment before I get going. But otherwise, it's yes, football. We know football is a very male-dominated sport. There's a lot of men in there, but there are women in there. Perhaps not occupying as high positions as I do currently, but there are also women that are occupying higher positions that I do, that are currently sitting on the NEC. The likes of Miriali Dwaba, Mrs. Natasha Chiklas, and them. They are in even higher positions. So at least I've got role models or mentors that I can look up to, for guidance and leadership. so to speak. So I don't feel so alone.
Yeah. Has a female occupied the position you're holding right now?
No, not at this
Another
current
first?
moment. So I'm sort of the first,
Yeah.
and I shouldn't be the last.
Yeah.
People can celebrate that I'm the first, but I shouldn't be the last. And it's something that obviously going forward we need, as all of us, we need to ensure that this position, more women come on board, more women come on other positions as well. Especially decision-making positions, so that our voices are also heard in the boardrooms.
And how have they received you? What has been the reception?
Very warmly. It's been very
Okay.
warm. I'm very receptive. Obviously COVID hit when I was trying to get in. So I have not, some of the employees I have not seen as yet, but the CEO being the leader of the organization, and other managers, the CFO, they've received me quite warmly. I've been introduced to the sponsors. I've been introduced to kind of various stakeholders. I've started working, so to speak. I've attended press conferences. So I've hit the ground running, but it's what it is. It has to happen. But I feel really warm, and I really look forward to working there. But it's not as scary as I thought. We sit outside and think it's scary, but it's not as scary. Once you're inside, it's not as scary as you think.
Yeah. And then Kimara, bringing you in now, you've always been in the media space, journalism space, and now you're tapping into a new position as well, and decisions need to be made as well. Just looking at your position as the media and communications manager at Marty Sport, is this a first for you as well?
Well, I have previously worked at the University of Johannesburg as the marketing communication coordinator. So I have a general understanding of the space, especially university sport. I think everyone, Dumisani and Lydia both know me from USA. So it's been a long time coming, basically. So yeah, I'm so privileged to be part of this space at the moment, and I'm so happy to be part of this family. I think what COVID has also taught us that media plays such an important role, especially in the sports space. And there's so much of growth to happen in terms of media and comms in our environments, and inclusion of women and our women athletes and women, stars. So yeah, I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to what this couple of years and the journey, what it's gonna unfold.
Yeah. And I know, Kimara, you're one of those people that, for a while you were looking for like a stable job, a stable position, and that has been a struggle. And what was that like for you? And what kept you motivated to keep on applying for a job? Because we know it's really tough out there.
Yeah. So during lockdown, I was actually, was it last year? Yes, the whole of last year, and obviously this year before I got into this position, I was looking for something more permanent. And I was basically freelancing all that time. And it is very difficult. And I echo the sentiments of so many young South Africans at this moment, and a lot of women as well, that are looking for jobs in various spaces and environments. And you know what, it's sometimes mostly about how determined and how persistent you are. I'm sure a lot of people who are part of SOAFs also know that I would always ask them, if anyone is looking for someone in the media space, I'm available. I'm looking to, get experience, and also have my name out there as someone who is in the media space and able to do a multiple, how can you say, different areas of media. So it is challenging. I won't lie to you, last year was very challenging, but I also believe that with these challenges, there's growth that comes with it. And I had to experience all of that to be in the position that I am today and be able to celebrate myself maybe for like 1 second, and then get to the work, because there's a lot of work to be done. And I also believe that it's important that because I was given this opportunity, that I should also show generosity to others and allow them the space to grow and also enhance their skills.
Yeah, most definitely. Another phenomenal woman joins us in our panel as well, and that is Pam Bua. Pam is the head coach for school sport in the Eastern Cape. She's the coach for the under 14. Hi, Pam. Very good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Hi, Pam. All right, I think we're having some network challenges there with Pam, but we'll keep on, trying to link up with her. Now, Lydia, coming to you, I think it also just takes so much courage and guts, to apply for different positions, especially, the positions, decision-making positions. I know that you also applied for the CEO position, and you didn't get that one. It went to Advocate Tebogo Motlanthe, and then you did not stop there. You're like, I will just continue applying. I think that also just takes a lot, and self-belief in just applying for these positions. How do you do it?
Yeah, and then that's actually two of, I think, four positions
Ooh.
that I actually applied for.
Yeah.
I also applied for the director position at TaxSport at the University of Pretoria. There was another position at FIFA I applied for. I think for me, I think I was in a space where I felt like I needed something different. I wanted to grow. Where I have been, I'd been a deputy director at TaxSport for 7 years, and I felt like I'd learned quite a lot, and what I had learned, I think I was ready, for a more leadership position, having gone through also the training that I've gone through. SAWAFs also gave us training last 2 years ago. Was it last year? Last year, yeah, just before COVID, when we had that leadership, women in sport leadership. And I'd done a leadership course as well with University of Stellenbosch Business School, and I'd been to the FIFA Women in Football leadership program. So I had been to quite various leadership programs, and I done the job for 7 years. So I felt like I needed another, I needed to take a step forward. So hence why I just felt brave enough, I felt more motivated than ever, that I felt, and I felt I deserved, to go forward. Hence why I put my CV out there. I brushed up my CV, I got someone to make it really look nice, very pretty, so that it can be recognized. Because I know the HR people go through so many CVs, so I wanted mine to stand out. And I just had to put my best foot forward, But I think at that time I was very motivated, and I felt really ambitious to go forward to go for whatever position that I could find that I felt like, I met the minimum criteria.
Man. And you touched on something really important, CVs, and you had to get someone to brush it up for you. I remember back then, you remember Microsoft Word when we used to decorate with the different colors and we had borders on the CVs, So do we still do that? What are we doing wrong or right in preparing CVs? I think that is where most people just get it wrong, because like you say, HR goes through a whole lot of CVs. How do you make yours stand out?
I think actually I must thank Mentambi, for referring me to someone who works with Steve, who's a specialist basically in the preparation of CVs. And there's a software that they use, We're in the age of the fourth industrial revolution, so we have to take advantage of technology. I have a CV that was on MS Word. It's like 9 pages long. But I know that no one has time to be looking through 9 pages, So these guys know how to. It's called creative CV. So they took my 9-page CV and they shortened it, and they prettified it, so to speak, so that it stands out, and it's short, sharp, and sweet, So I think it's about getting experts as well who can prepare your CV so that it stands out amongst 200 or even more, because we, like I say, the HR people, they receive tons of CVs on a daily basis, but you have to have that CV that, say, look at me, before they
Yeah.
can even look at whether you're meeting the minimum requirements or not.
Dumisani, I take it you also got help in brushing up your your CV.
Well, we are sports people, so we are just used to putting information there, and we're hoping that the person that we are sending this information to will take the time to read and get the information that they're looking for. And unfortunately, like Lydia has already alluded, when you are applying for I'll call it an executive position, you need to position yourself in an executive manner. You need to present yourself in an executive manner. And there's also, like a lot of us will write, all these achievements that we've done that have nothing to do with the job. So it's about tailoring your CV to fit what it is that they are looking for. And you need to be clever, especially in the opening page. I know the format that Lydia is talking about. In the opening page or the front page of your CV, you need to put in all those keywords that they are looking for, that they put in the advert, for them to already say, oh, wow, this is what we're looking for. Already you are catching their eye, you are catching their mind. They don't have to look for the information. You can put your Dumisani coaching netball, Gauteng, wherever, at the end. But right now we are dealing with executive information, and that is how you need to tailor, and that is how you need to present and sell yourself, so that they can say, this one stands out. She took time to tailor and to make sure that she cuts and she pastes and she fixes the CV or her application to suit what it is that we are applying for. So yeah, I also got help. Those guys are quite brilliant, Lydia. From 6 pages to 3 pages was brilliant.
And Kimara, what approach did you use? Was it the same approach as well for you?
So luckily, I'm a bit tech savvy, so I did my own.
Excuse us.
I do also have one in Word. I won't lie. I'm also a traditionalist. But yeah, I also agree with Dumisani that you have to know what you're applying for. Read. It's so important to read job adverts. So basically, what they expect of you. Your requirements. Are you meeting the minimum requirements? And also, I believe that you should have a really good bio. So that is telling the company you're working for a little bit about yourself, but also what you're proficient in, because some of that information is not going to tell them everything. They want to know who you are. So your bio or your motivation and cover letter can help you in that regard. And I do also recommend you ask someone to look through that, because obviously after going through multiple of job applications, and sometimes you get tired of reworking a motivation letter or a cover letter. And it's important to have that structured to the job that you're applying for. So yeah, it's definitely important. It's something that people often overlook. And I think, just for instance, because of my experience in the university sports sector, it helps boost your CV for something like a position I'm coming to at Marty Sport. So you have to bear in mind what you're portraying to the people who you want to employ you.
Yeah. If you're tuned in, remember you can also share your comments as well as questions, and we'll get to ask them to our great panelists as well. So I take it it's also very important to do extra research on the positions that you're applying for, just so that, it can also come in as an advantage for you going into this position, or when they call you for interviews. Is that right, Lydia, looking at doing thorough research on the position that you're applying for?
It's very important, because the questions that they're going to be asking you, it's going to be based on that, what the kind of person that they're looking for. So you can't afford to be, not knowing what to say, or showing, that you didn't do research. You have to be extremely prepared for an interview, but that's what it's important. And they do give you a platform. Many organizations will give you a platform to ask the relevant questions of the HR person. They will give you an email address or a phone number that you can call. That is a platform that you can use to do your research. If you don't know someone in the organization, you can always call the HR person and say, hey, where do I find the strategy of, let's say, for example, of the University of Pretoria, or where do I find certain documents, policies on the South African Football Association, so that when you're in the interview, you've already gone through things, and you can also, it helps you see where you can come in, where you can add value, because it's important that you know where you're going to be fitting in. Organizations hire people that are going to come in and be an asset to them, who are going to add the value that they don't have currently. So you need to see what is there, where you can fit in, what other things can you bring to the job other than what is also what is already advertised. So it's quite important that you know that those kind of things to make you stand out in the interview. And then when it's time to ask questions, it's quite important as well that you come prepared with questions to ask, that they can see that you've done your research, you've seen there's things that perhaps you don't understand or you want more clarity on. It also demonstrates that you've taken the time to research on an organization. It more often than not, it impresses the panel that is doing the interviews.
And our position's still advertised. There's a lot of people that say, there are no jobs, there are no opportunities. Are jobs still advertised? Maybe I can throw that at, Lydia, you can answer and then Dumi.
I think it depends. It depends where. There are organizations that go for, they just look for they will go throw in, a fishnet into the pond, looking for the best candidate. So those are kind of organizations will advertise the jobs, on all the platforms available in the newspapers, online, etc., etc. The universities are very good at that because their policies speak about, the recruit. I'm talking for the University of Pretoria because our selection and recruitment policy talked about, giving everyone a fair chance, to apply for a certain position. But there are organizations out there that will, or companies out there that are looking for a specific type of person. So they will rather hunt for that person so that they don't receive 200 CVs. They're looking for quality, and they know the kind of person that they're looking for. So they will go and actually headhunt the kind of person that they're looking for, and they will come back maybe with 3 possible candidates, through a word of mouth, through doing their own research, and they will say, we are interested in Dumisani, we're interested in Lydia, we're interested in Kimara. So they will give you the 3 people that they've handpicked, to come forward for an interview. So that they can determine who out of the 3 are the best candidates. That is also allowed, it's also legal, but it depends on the organization. But I've seen, like I said, last year I went on a rampage looking for jobs. So I've looked online, etc., looking for opportunities, but I've seen opportunities out there. So they are getting advertised. But like I said, it depends where you want to be going.
Yeah. Dumi, for you, did you go like, was it advertised? Is it something that you were also you were gunning for?
So I'll just add on to what Lydia has already started. Sure. Yes, they do advertise jobs, but then you find in certain organizations, they try to promote their own stuff. So it becomes an internal promotional position. And this was the case with me, where they are trying to empower their own people before opening it up for people outside. And that is great for companies to do that, because then people come in and then they realize that there are opportunities of advancement, that you don't come in at a certain level and you stay there for the rest of your life. So it is encouraging that here at the Tshwane University of Technology, that is the strategy that they're taking now. They're trying to build their own people. And as that happens, then the entry-level posts are the ones that then get advertised to allow for more people to come into the system. But first, it's about empowering their own people that are in the system. That's number one. So coming back to jobs and job seeking, I think it's very important that people start networking and realize the importance of networking, opening yourself up and chatting to people in your industry, because you never know who you might be chatting to when you go to an event and you're networking. So I encourage people watching today, open up your network, talk to people. You might find someone who either owns a company, someone who's looking for someone, or someone who can just be your mentor to assist you to reach your goals and get you where you want to be. Second to that, there are recruitment agencies that you can submit your CV to. I do find sometimes that what you submit and what they then present back to you sometimes is a misfit. So maybe have a conversation with the company that you are submitting your CV to say, listen, I'm specifically looking in the sports industry or specifically looking in the marketing industry, so that the match fits and it fits your goals as a person, it fits your career goals and where you want to eventually end up. And I think also it's about us as as a person. If you go into a place and you do your own SWOT analysis and you realize and then you come to the conclusion that there is a need for something, or a change is going to come one day, whenever it's going to come. So when I came here in 2016 on the 1st of January, my first question, me being me, my first question was, why is our management only male? Kanjan. This was five years ago. 5 years ago when I first got, well, 5.5 when I first got here. And I realized that opportunities might come through. So what did Dumi do? Because Dumi is a person who's full of energy, and she'll just relinquish a challenge. She'll just try and think about, okay, should this happen? I need to be here. Should that happen? So that talks about foresight, number one. Number two, it talks about you equipping, empowering, and positioning yourself. Should that opportunity come one day, you are in a place where you've positioned yourself, you've got the qualification, you've attended training, you've got the experience, you're ready for the opportunity. They have no choice but to say, listen, maybe we've got something here. So networking, recruitment agencies, positioning yourself and empowering yourself and making sure that you are ready. You stay ready for when the opportunity comes, because if you are not ready when that opportunity comes, it doesn't go away. It goes to someone else who was preparing for it. So that's my submission on that one.
Yeah, wow. A lot to take in there. I hope that everyone, grabbed very important information from that. Kimara, for you, you did say that the whole of last year and, the beginning of this year as well, it was really tough for you. So in that period, what do you keep sending in your CVs? What do you do at that time, during that time?
It's so easy to become demotivated in an instance like this. But like Dumisani said, it is so important to keep your network close to you. I think we even did an exercise last year at our SWOT training about our networks and the people we know, and how we can even build the network and keep it going, and know, if I'm in a dire situation, who can I go to? And I think that it's so much has to do with persistence, and you having the courage to say, although I might get rejected, that no is going to lead to a yes. And you have to be positive in your mindset to say, you know what, I'm going to continue doing this. Every no is my, a stepping stone to my next yes. So, I mean, of course, I also have gone through a process of, going into interviews and sending in applications and getting no's. And it just takes that one person to see the value that you're going to bring, and, understand your worth in an organization, and you're ready to jet sail. Like Dumisani said, you have to be prepared for, during this process of getting the no's, you still have to be prepared for when you get the yes, because the hard work is going to start. Yeah. So I think that, although it's difficult and you can have low days, I think that it's important to look at the bigger picture and just motivate yourself to look to the future and say that in a year's time, I can be in a completely different situation, and I can be miles ahead of what I am right now. So each application you send it in with faith that you're going to get a yes.
Yeah. Mm. And, then there's people that are comfortable because then they have this mentality, at least I've got a job, because then you're like, hey, there are no jobs, at least I've got this job. And you decide that, let me just stay here. But the importance really of always upgrading your skills, always, attending courses as well. Can we chat about that as well, where people need to get out of that comfort zone and always upgrading your skills? Lydia?
Yeah, thanks, Karabo. That's really critical. You know, the comfort zone is the most dangerous place one can find themselves in. You know, because there's just no room for growth in a comfort zone. Where you are today, you're going to be in exactly the same place in 5 years' time. And no one will be interested in hiring you somewhere else if you are stuck in the same position. So it's very important, especially if you're working in a university environment, to always empower yourself, because universities are more than I won't talk about other organizations because I'm coming from a university environment.
Sure.
They give so many opportunities. There's so many courses, short courses on offer. There are degrees on offer. There are diplomas on offer. There's so much more that one can do to empower themselves. But I think one has to come out of that space, and the laziness. Sometimes about laziness, people think this course takes so long, a year is so long. Where am I going to find time? But you got to create time. If you want something really, really badly, you have to make time for it and dedicate yourself to and commit to doing that. I mean, last year I found myself doing 3 different courses at the same time. I mean, I was
Sure.
doing the Stellenbosch business school women in executive leadership course. I was doing I found myself in the SAWAF's women in sport leadership course. And I was also doing the Timali, the Thabo Mbeki African Institute of Leadership course, on thought leadership. I felt so overwhelmed at one time. But I felt like these courses are ending at different times, but I could always manage. I had to find extra time somewhere. I had to wake up in the morning at 4 in the morning so I can get in the extra reading time. After the children go to bed, because I'm a mother as well, I had to make time after bedtime so that I can also put in something. Lunchtime I dedicated to doing some of the schoolwork. I think it's just about dedication, commitment, and then knowing where you're going. If you've got something on paper, you've got goals on paper, you know where you're going, nothing should deter you from achieving those kind of things. But it's quite important that people always empower themselves. They take up those courses in their spaces. LinkedIn has got so many courses that one can take advantage of. So it's important that one just gets out of that laziness, that comfort zone, and go for it, because that's an extra. It's a plus for your CV. It's something that you can put on your CV. And also most courses, they give you a certificate that is proof that you've gone through the training. So it's a plus, and it can make your CV stand out of many CVs that come through the HR department when a position is available.
Yeah. Tumi, your say or contribution that you'd like to make to those people that, find themselves in that comfort position with at least I've got a job and no need to really upgrade.
So one example I'm going to give on that is that, say you come in, you're a sport officer, right? So you come in, you're a sport officer, and you're happy, you are getting a salary, you got certain benefits, and you're like, okay, no, I have a national diploma in, say, sport management or whatever. I'm fine. I'm better than my peers, right? Because now people want to compare themselves to their peers and then try and see what is happening. You need to realize that, yes, you are comfortable right now at the level that you're at. But then comes a child out of high school. They come, they study, they get their national diploma, they come in and they're at your level, right? But they decide that nah, I don't want to be comfortable. I need to keep pushing myself. I need to keep learning. I need to empower myself. I'm dreaming big because I don't want to be comfortable, right? So what do? They go to the next step and they study to, well, will be the BTech, or they do a 4-year degree in what you were doing, right? And then they realize, okay, if I can get to an honors degree, I would be in a better position to get a higher position should one open up. So they go up there. So now you are still here. Well, and then the opportunity opens up, right? Who's going to get the job? The one that's been here for 20 years, who's been comfortable, or the one that's been here for 3 years and have been improving and working at getting themselves and positioning themselves? That is the danger of the comfort zone. Yes, you get comfortable, but until when are you going to get comfortable? Also knowing while you are comfortable, there are people working harder than you. So they'll get to your level and then eventually they'll pass you because they keep wanting to work for the next one and the next one and wanting to improve themselves and position themselves better. That is why they say the comfort zone is one of the most dangerous places anyone can live. Because there you get comfortable, it gets warm. Yes, it's comfortable, but is it fulfilling? If you are fulfilled and that is your definition of success, then we leave you, you are at peace, it's okay. But then don't go and complain about so and so getting the job because Lydia was doing 3 courses. Remember, people like Lydia and myself, yes, we work these places. We have kids. When the kids are asleep, that's when we whip up the laptops and we start doing our schoolwork. I know I had to rush to the office today because this morning, between 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock, I had to do my schoolwork. I'm submitting today. So when I finish with this webinar now, I need to go and finish my schoolwork so I can submit. I can go home and be with my kids because also I cannot neglect the fact that one of the most fulfilling hats that we get to wear as women, well, personally me, one of the most fulfilling hats that I wear as Dumisani Chauke, never mind the fancy stuff and all that, is being a mother to my kids. So if you're going to sit, no, I don't have time, Lydia said it. We all have 24 hours. It's up to you how you use your 24 hours. Beyonce has the same 24 hours as you. What are you doing about it? What are you using your 24 hours for? And then you're going to complain and be like, no, but Beyonce is, no, sweetie. Time is time. We're all subjected to the same 24 hours. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Well, that is so true. And Kimara, you agree. Yes, you may not have, kids, but, you need to spend your time wisely as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that even during last year, I was also doing courses. I had finished my master's and I told myself, you know what, actually this year I do want to do a couple of courses just to enhance my skills. And honestly, there's so much you can find online and a lot of free stuff. I did about 4 or 5 courses last year, and that was just me enjoying myself and enhancing my skills. And I won't even lie that YouTube is your best friend. You can learn how to do anything on YouTube. So I'm not a Gen Z, but I know Gen Zs use YouTube a lot. So, I mean, you can teach yourself how to take photos. You can edit on different software. There's a Google Digital Garage where there's free courses where you can get a certificate at the end. I did a marketing course on Google Digital Garage. And you just have to put your mind to it. And if you think also, online on Twitter, we also see a lot of different sport agencies or organizations allowing for, various kind of skills, courses and stuff. I know last year as well, the IOC opened up something for everyone to come and sit on some courses on how there's Olympic values and all of the stuff. So I took my time. It was a 6-week course and we had assignments, we had submissions, You had to be in the sessions. And I mean, if you're determined to do something and learn about something so that it's better for you, then you should do it. Education means a lot to me, so I try my best to learn as much as I can, and that will never deter you going, in the future, whatever you do. It just means that you have more knowledge, and people will recognize that you are knowledgeable.
Yeah. And then there's people that think that courses are expensive. Are they expensive, or can you get like free courses? How do they vary price wise? Anyone can answer that one. Yeah.
It depends. It depends or what courses you're doing. Is it with a university? Is it online? A lot of online courses, I won't say they're very pricey because they're online and they are usually remote learning courses. And some of them are free. So, I mean, you should take the opportunity to grab it with both hands. And if it's a free opportunity, I think you should go straight ahead, especially if something in the line of what you like or something you want to enhance your skill on. It's definitely worthwhile because you're learning. I mean, you're learning for absolutely nothing. And then also people, if you can't afford something, some people are kind enough to. Last year there was a course that I did about sport writing, but it was a US based sport writing course, and the person decided to waiver the course fee for me because I wasn't working, which was amazing. So there's some kind people out there who will also come to your aid. So yeah, you just have to be on the ground and looking and ready to learn, basically.
Yeah.
Lydia, you
If I
wanted to
can
add
add,
it?
Karabo,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of platforms where you can actually find free courses that you can do. You have to find those platforms. Like I said, LinkedIn was one of them. I was once referred to one of those websites. I can't remember. I'll try to remember. But Nomsa Mahlangu had referred me to one website, where you could do a sport and development course. I just have to find it so that I can just advise you which one it is. Some of them you do the course for free, but when it's time, you only pay for the certificate. You can do the course, learn all you want out of that thing, and you just pay a minimum fee just to get the course. You find that maybe they say the certificate, maybe they say $10. Then you pay for the $10 so that you can get the certificate. And sometimes they can give you find that you upgrade your membership. Once you upgrade your membership, then you can get as many courses as you like and with the certificate included. So that kind of thing you can do. And I'm also working with the University of London as an online tutor. We're presenting a program, the International Sport Management Program. It's a certificate, so to speak, but we've got various modules there. Modules such as financial management in sport, strategy, governance and leadership, entrepreneurship, sport and development. And we work closely also with the World Academy of Sport. And those two organizations also give various bursaries to people who are really interested in advancing their careers in sport management. Last year we gave a lot of, or this year, the February intake, we gave a lot of scholarships to former well, not, you can't be a former, so all the Olympians, anyone who's been to the Olympics, so we gave a lot of scholarships to Olympians. Now for the September intake, there are 5 scholarships that are available, that that are coming through the University of London as well, to honor a lady that we all loved, Matilda Mwamba, very strong women when it came to women in sport activism and putting the best foot forward for women and empowering women in the sports space. So there are 5 scholarships that we're giving as well, in that space. So people who are interested, apply. I've seen a lot of opportunities coming through also when I was at the University of Pretoria, where there would be scholarship for masters, in Russia, in Korea, through the university sports space. And we would distribute these to sport officers for them to apply. And it's really sad when no one actually applies for these positions. You know, all your courses, all your fees are covered, your flight ticket is covered, accommodation is covered, everything is covered. But we still struggle to see people, you know, putting in the CV to say, you know, I'm interested. You know, I think also people are scared of, you know, leaving their jobs and going off studying a master's
Yeah.
for a year and coming back. You know,
Mm.
the job will always be there, or you can actually get something better. You know, I was working at EY at some point during the 2010 World Cup. I left that, you know, that job that I was doing with all these, you know, beautiful networks at the FIFA World Cup. I went to the UK and studied a master's in sport management. And I came back, I didn't have a job, but I had to hustle, network, as you know, we were saying earlier. And I even got a better position when I came back. You know, I think fear is what drives a lot of people not to apply for positions, not to apply for courses, not to apply for scholarships. But we need to we need to shed that fear mentality. Let go of it and believe in yourselves and seek those opportunities. There are many opportunities out there, many scholarships that are out there, but people are just not taking advantage of them.
Yeah. And you know, there's also opportunities in doing courses with maybe international universities, like you kept mentioning, you know, the University of London. How much weight does doing such courses with international institutions have when you bring it here in South Africa, having that as well, in coming in with that experience as well? How much weight does that have?
Well, sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. You know,
Okay.
you know, sometimes people would prefer someone who studied at, you know, Nelson Mandela, you know, Bay, you know, at the University of, you know, Nelson Mandela Bay, instead of someone who worked who studied at the University of London, because when you're doing a sport management program in South Africa, it exposed you to the dealings of sport in South Africa, whereas when you're studying in the UK, you're exposed to sport in the UK. So sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. But when you've studied overseas as well, sometimes it gives you a more you know, a global view of sport. Like I said, the course that we're doing right now is an international sport management. So you can we bring different aspects to the course. You know, we don't just deal with one country, so to speak. There are different countries. We look at different models in different countries, you know, that we address, and we allow students to also discuss, you know, the various models in, you know, or the policies in their individual countries or wherever they're based, you know. So it gives you a more global perspective rather than a one country perspective, because you can learn so much from other countries. It's important to also see what other countries are doing, what other institutions are doing. You know, for me, it shouldn't, just because you study at the University of London, shouldn't give you a more advantage than someone who studied at University of Pretoria. I think you should be all on equal level, especially if you study the same course. You know, it shouldn't be about you study the course. The minimum criteria wants you to have a master's in sport management. Both of you have a master's in sport management. Sometimes it's about what you say in the interview that determines who's the better candidate. But then don't put someone's CV who studied at the University of London ahead of someone who studied at the University of Pretoria. That it would work. It would not be objective, and it would not be fair. Fairness is also important in the selection of candidates, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Dumi, is there something you'd like to add onto that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that we also need to understand is, you know, sometimes people always wait for these opportunities to come to them. When you want to do something of value to you, you want to make a significant contribution in any industry aspect, area, sphere. You will go out and look for the opportunities. So yes, Lydia might give out to anyone who's listening an example in terms of a platform that online courses can be found. But we're in the fourth industrial, almost at the fifth industrial revolution. Where technology is right at the tip of our fingers on our phones. So if you really want something, you really want to get empowered, you will do your research. And I think also broadening your horizon and your capacity of thinking, being able to comprehend information, doing those overseas courses and attending webinars where you've got speakers from other countries, it allows you to open up your eyes, open up your mind to see how things are done in other places and how you can then take that, bring it to South Africa or to your industry, where you can say, okay, this is how they do it in India, this is how they do it in Australia, in England. In South Africa, our socioeconomic elements are not the same. So let's tailor it to fit what we are doing here. So my addition, just in closing for this section, is also, as a person, you will never have what you are not willing to pursue. Yeah.
Interesting. And then let's go into the positions now that you're holding. Kimara, I think all of us, like I've been saying, unfamiliar times, no precedents, because COVID, there's a lot of webinars, there's a lot of Zoom meetings and so forth, university sports as well, or amateur sports, hugely affected by COVID-19. Kimara, how are you now doing your job, doing your responsibilities, with everything, with this reality of COVID?
You know what, it is, I think this is one of the biggest challenges I will face coming into my position, especially because I just started a month ago and now we're smack bang into level 4. But to be honest, it also just gives me the opportunity to get familiar with people and just to get familiar with my environment. But in terms of my position itself, I just want our Mati sport to be more advertised towards the external media and have more inclusivity in our approach to, how we portray our athletes online. It's such a big thing that, like I said before, because of COVID, media has played such an important role. And even now, even though there isn't sport happening, there's still so much to be learned, so much things to be said about our athletes. There's Olympics coming up. Some of our athletes are going to the Olympics in the university space environment. And, it is difficult to obviously get this job under wraps in a time like this, because it feels like it's a stop and start. But you know what, we just have to plan for around this and plan, for the foreseeable future about how we're gonna, tackle what COVID has done to our, sporting space. And it's so sad because, university sports, we are a breather to the Team South Africa. So it's so difficult because, so many codes have been shut down and, you feel for the athletes. When I was freelancing, I think I asked almost every athlete, how has lockdown been for you as an athlete? How have you come to terms with it? And almost everyone said it's been such a difficult period for them. And sometimes the media don't even care about things like this. Like, we're all humans. We have to understand the space we're in, how it's impacting the people we are reporting on, and especially student athletes, because student athletes, they are unlike elite athletes. They are studying and they are competing, at a high level. And sometimes people don't necessarily understand how much is on their shoulders, how much weight is on a student athlete. And, so I think that I'm here to kind of lessen that burden and try and give them the space where they can say, you know what, I'm struggling, and I want people to know that, actually I'm human before I am an athlete. But yeah, I just think I've just learned also so much during this time, even though there isn't sport happening, which is crazy to say, but I love being on the field and reporting on the field and all of that. But this side of COVID has taught me so much, just about athletes themselves and getting to know them on a personal level, and how, how impactful COVID has been on their lives. And I assume is going to be for the remainder of the year, which I think we just have to come to terms with.
And Lydia, you're also in that position where you need to make decisions. COVID, there's the continuing of sports, there's the halting of sports. A lot of decisions that need to be made. That are we continuing with sports, or people's lives are important? What's that like as well? Just having to now really make those decisions, because now it goes beyond just university.
Look, it's tough, especially in football, because we know that there's so many people playing football out there. It's just a social, not only a professional and elite sport, but it's also a social sport as well. So you have to balance, do we allow people, to keep fit, play football all the time, let the leagues continue, some of them, they're making money out of playing football. Or do you also think about, saving lives? We're talking about people's lives here, we have to take that into consideration. We are in a, when you are in a decision making, well, when you're in a leadership position that, I found myself occupying now, decision making is quite key. You have to take all the information that is available to you in order to enable you to make the right decision. Sometimes people make decisions based on a hearsay, or emotions, but it's quite important to take everything into consideration and weigh all the options as well. I mean, here, like I'm saying, we've got lives, that are involved, people's lives. Some people contract COVID, and people actually die, from the disease. So, do you say no? The Hollywood Sport Bet Super League shouldn't continue because of COVID. But people thinking maybe if I play one game, I'm gonna get 300. That 300 is gonna help me buy groceries. Some people thinking if I don't go for a run, maybe they're looking at the prize money. If I come first, second, or third, or in the top 10, I get something. I get 5,000 yana. That 5,000, I'm going to take it back to my family to, it's gonna feed us for the month. Those kind of things it's things that sport administrators, sport managers, people in leadership position have to consider as well. Because you're dealing with people's livelihoods at the same time. It's not only about having fun, keeping fit. It's about people's livelihood. People are making money out of sport. So those things you have to take into consideration before making a decision. But like I said, decisions have to be made. There's lives involved. There's something that is bigger than us on the table at the moment.
Tumi, your contribution in that aspect?
Well, just to add on to what Kimara has already said, and Lydia also alluded to, I mean, it's a harsh reality that we need to deal with. But first and foremost, if you still have a job during these times, you need to thank God or thank your ancestors or whatever, because it's tough out there. That's number one. Number two, COVID-19 came and it literally shifted our focus, or it literally our tumble everything, all our plans, everything that we have, and that has forced us, Kimara, to be more adaptable to changes. That's one. Number two, it has forced us to literally have to think outside the box. And number three, it has forced us to relook and reprioritize how we've been doing things. The hard thing is that, you see, I'm an administrator and I'm a coach at the same time. Administration, I can still do because I just need a computer, I need a printer, I can have my online meetings. But as a coach, how do you keep athletes motivated during such times to say to them, yes, USA was meant to take place in July. It has now been moved to September. We don't know what date, but I need you to stay fit, to stay positive. Mind you, these athletes didn't play USA last year. So last year you had to keep them positive, keep them motivated, keep them training. They come in this year, they're like, okay, USA is happening in July. And then in June, they're like, nope, not happening, darling, September. And now you're like, oh my gosh, how do we keep them motivated? How do we keep them excited about this thing? Never mind university students, guys. How do we keep those of you that are watching that work with high school kids? Remember, in high school, in your grade 11 and your grade 12, that is when you play sport and the university scouts are going to come to your school, come to the events or the tournaments to come and scout you. How do you keep a kid in high school motivated that one day when they get to a varsity, they will maybe have a sports bursary and be able to play sports on the USA level, where there's no school sports, which means scouts can't go to the schools? It's a different way for us to start thinking. I think for me, because it's two sides of my brain. One brain is administrator, one brain is the coach. And on the administration part, I mean, in my new position, what we've already done is just set up meetings. So we're going to have one-on-one meetings with all the staff members and all the team members, so that we can establish how is it that we are going to still be of service to our athletes as hard as it is right now. Because we cannot just say, okay, guys, there's no sport is suspended for now on campus, or we're in level 4, we can't do that. Okay, let's all fold our arms and have coffee. Can't. We can't. So we need to start thinking outside the box. Yes, you can have Zoom sessions, you can have sessions on Teams, but how many of our athletes have access to that? How many of our athletes even have a smartphone to be able to join a Zoom training session? Because it's easy if you are privileged and you've got the smart devices, you've got the free unkept Wi-Fi, you've got the data, you've got all that stuff. A student, Lydia, that would sacrifice to go and play a soccer match so they can get 300 Rand, will then need to come back with that same 300 Rand and make a very tough decision. Do I buy food for the family, or do I buy data so I can join a Zoom training session? Socioeconomics are not the same. So we need to start thinking of ways of how we can accommodate everyone during this tough time, because we all don't have the same circumstances.
And the timing of it, for all three of you looking at the positions, there's no one that can say, I've been through this and this is what I've done. You know, you all need to plan this from scratch, man. But now, because this is all new, what type of support are you looking for, you know, just to make this a bit easier for you? Anyone can take this one.
You mean support in terms of work?
Yeah, and also just keeping you motivated as well, you know. Yeah, so just looking at support basically.
So for work, it's quite easy. I mean, at the Tshwane University of Technology, everyone is equipped with their own laptop, and we all have a modem that we get data every month. So we are able to still work remotely. Unless there's something that you need to do, then you come into the office and you're able to still carry on with work. But other than that, I think it's about having a good support structure in terms of either your family, your friends, and your mentors who are always going to be there to assist you, because you won't always wake up and you're motivated and you're positive and you're excited, because we don't even know when this thing is going to end.
Yeah.
So having a good support structure around you, having people that understand, or people in the more or less the same position as you, that you guys can help support each other as well during this time. Because on days that I might not be feeling so good, I can then draw strength from someone else in my circle who's got who's got all the energy, and they can then, you know, transfer some of that energy to me, or vice versa. When someone else is not feeling so great within your circle, you're able to help and support each other. So a great support system will always go a long way, and especially us as females, knowing that yes, we might not necessarily be in the same industry or in the same sphere when it comes to work, but some of the challenges that we face as women in leadership positions are similar, because most of them are gender-based. So a good support system, and also I think also knowing that what you bring to the table is of value, and stop downplaying what it is that you bring to the table that you are seated at.
Lydia, and for you as well, and looking at the type of support, you know, that you would like, especially looking at the position that you hold as well.
Yeah, I think for me, it's about, you know, having the you know, role models and who are also my mentors, you know. Like I said, I'm not the first woman to be holding such an important position in in football.
Mm.
There's other women that have come through who are still there. I've mentioned some of them, that I can, I can, tap on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm
Yeah.
drowning. Can you help me with ABCDXYZ? And I still need to set up meetings with them, because I said when I start, I'm going to have meetings with them so that they can, they can be my sounding board. They can also guide me, and tell me, some of the things, like I said, I don't know everything. I'm new. On this level, I'm new. I'm not new in football. I'm new on this level. I think
Mm.
it's quite important to have a mentor, someone that can hold your hand at some point. You don't know where you're going. It's dark. You don't know if you're on the right path or you've off ramped. You need someone like
Mm.
that, that can hold your hand and say, hey, let's keep focused. Let's do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And um, we often talk about mentors, but not coaches. Not coach
Mm.
like it's Coach Dumisani, but coaches. I think a coach is quite different to a mentor. A coach actually walks the journey with you. A mentor, you can set up a meeting with a mentor. Quarterly meetings, so that you guys can talk about certain things. But a coach actually goes into more detail.
Mm.
They hug you. They become your best friend, so to speak. After work,
Yeah.
you can get online and speak to that coach. I think that is very important, especially when you reach an executive level, in sport or anywhere else that you are. It's important that one gets a coach, that can walk this journey with them, because it's tough. You can't
Mm.
do this alone. And I fully
Mm.
agree with Dumisani, when it comes to support, also the people surrounding you. Family is quite important. You need to have a buy-in from your family, so to speak. Before I took this position, I had to go to my husband and say, this is what's on the table. What do you think?
Mm.
Will I have your support if I get this position? He reminded me how many other things I'm doing on the side. What about those other things that you're doing?
Yeah.
University of London, these boards, you're doing so many things. He said, how are you going to do it? And I had to sit
Mm.
down and plan and say, okay, fine. If I'm going to continue with certain things, this is how I'm going to approach it. And I had to discuss with him. And I had to say, in 6 months' time, I'm going to drop certain things. I still have to drop some of the things, by the way.
Lydia, you've been
So that
dropping.
I've been dropping for 2 years. So, but yeah, I think we have to as well, not overstretch ourselves. Yes, people need
Mm.
us as well to be their mentors, because we are occupying
Mm.
certain positions. There's youngsters, there are people who are around us who look up to us as well, to help, to inspire them. So we have to mentor them, but it's also about capacity. How much capacity do we have in order to support other people, over and above ourselves? And I think we are just doing too many things. If we sit back and look at it, we're doing so many things. When we sit down and reflect, I mean, I was lucky to have attended that FIFA Women in Football Leadership Program, and it helped me sit down and reflect on what is it that I'm doing. Am I coping? And I found that I'm not coping. I'm not coping. I'm taking away precious time with my daughters and giving
Mm.
it to work. That's not
Mm.
right, because I'm a mother. Like Dumisani said, we are mothers as well. Some of us are mothers. We have to give our children the attention that they deserve, because we need them to, to grow up a certain way. We need to
Yeah.
influence their growth as well. But we sometimes we give yourself so much to the public that you forget about, your duties, your role as a mother, etc. So I think now and again it's about having a time to reflect and say, where am I? Where am I going? Am I on the right path? What help do I need? Who can I speak to? Those kind of things. We need to sit down and breathe in and out,
Mm.
and I think that's very important. But the person that you're reporting to is quite important as well. I think empathy goes a long way in the workplace. I've just lost my
Mm.
brother.
Oh.
I've just started at the South African Football Association. I'm holding a very high position. I don't have leave. Where was I going
Mm.
to get the leave to attend my brother's, funeral?
Mm.
I can't pitch up on a Friday or on a Saturday morning. It's my brother, but
Yeah.
my leader, my CEO was very empathetic to say, look, we understand the situation that you're in. You need to go home and be with your family and
Mm.
deal with this and help out wherever you can. Don't worry about it. We'll sort out all the paperwork when you come
Oh.
back. We'll see how we work it out. I think it's quite important that empathy comes into into that space. And
Mm.
we as women, are very good, when it comes to empathy. We have to understand every other person's who's around us. We have to understand what is it that they're going through, the journey, and offer them that support. But like I said, we also need that kind of support as well.
Mm. And how do we make sure that, more women are appointed in these decision-making positions? Dumi? Okay. Sorry, Lydia, you can take it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Dumi.
No, you want me to take it? Okay. Well, the only way that we can make sure that we have more women coming up is mentoring them, offering yourself to be a mentor to those that are not necessarily coming after you, but that are around you, that have the same aspirations that you have or are in the same industry. Also, you're offering, but you're not forcing it on them. The decision lies with them to say, listen, yes, I'll accept the offer. And sometimes people come up and say, listen, I'm reading your story. I see how you're doing. Can you please mentor me, whether it's in coaching or administration? I would like to get to where you're going. And also, when we get to these places, like even Lydia said, like there are women that came before her. She's now in, and she's hoping, and she knows that there's no way she's going to be the last one. So being able to hold the door open for those that have gone through, you are standing now in the door. You are leaving it open for those that are coming after you. I think also it's important as well to share our stories, right? And when I say our stories, not just the good, not just the glamorous part, not just the glamorous part of our stories, but we need to tell the truth of the hours that it takes, the dedication, the preparation, the sacrifices that come with being here, because you cannot just only glamorize it and next thing people get you, they're like, this thing is hard. I don't know. And meanwhile, it was your responsibility to give them the raw truth of how it is when you're on this side. The sacrifices that come with sometimes not even having a social life. It's a sacrifice. You can't always just be, your friends are hitting up, but I'm coming. Your friends are hitting up. No, sweetheart. You need to be reading. You need to be reading strategic plans. You need to be reading submissions. You need to be reading proposals. You need to be reading articles, because your goals and aspirations are different. So we need to tell the people the honest truth, Kimara, of what it takes when you are holding that camera and you are still attending courses and you still have to do work. And by the time you get home, after taking those nice pictures, that's not the end. You need to edit the pictures. Then you need to write the story. We need to tell those stories. So people that are watching, please just know that it's not as easy as we sometimes make it out to be. It is rather hard, but yes, we are standing here today, sharing with you guys our journeys, our stories, and also making sure and understanding the responsibility and accountability on our shoulders to keep the door open and pull those that are coming after us with us, because eventually we're going to move on to someone else or to somewhere else, to another place, to another position, another industry. We need more females coming in and still representing the female species in whatever industry or place that we are at. So pulling as we rise, opening doors, breaking ceilings, so that those that come after us don't have to be dealing with ceilings, closed doors, and barriers that are put there for them.
Yeah, definitely. And Kimara, if you do have any expectations, but what are some of your expectations, from us as women? Because we really need to support one another. But what are some of your expectations when it comes to the position that you're currently holding now?
You know what? I think that in the end, basically, we're all in this together. We just have to uplift each other. In terms of my expectations in this position, I just want to uplift, my university and our brand to greater heights. I know everyone knows Mati Sport, but I want them to know us like on an in-depth level. It's so difficult to like pinpoint the expectations right now, because I feel like I have such a vision, and I know it's not glamorous either. Like Dumisani said, it's It's long hours, it's many weekends. We work in sport, it's evenings, it's weekends, it's public holidays. Don't laugh. So, sometimes you have to be real with yourself. And I think that in terms of the expectations, you have to, be realistic. This is how, your life is going to be for a couple of years, just to make sure that something is reaching the standard that you want it to reach. So yeah, I mean, we do it because we love what we do. So like Dumisani said, many nights where you're going to games and you still have to come back because people are asking where are the pictures.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah,
Sure. Yeah. And then
just have
Lydia,
to-
sorry, Kimari, you can
No,
continue.
carry on.
You're done. Alrighty. So, Lydia, for you, looking at, once you can say that I'm done with my term and I've really took up this position and I really owned this position, what would you have wanted to achieve?
I think for me, I always tell people you need to go in and have goals. What is it that you want to achieve? And what legacy are you going to be leaving behind? And one of the legacies I would like to see is obviously having more women in football, in the space, walk in the corridors and see more women involved, not only at the headquarters, obviously, in the regions, in the provinces, in refereeing and coaching, it's quite important. And then also in participation level as well. The professionalization of women is women's football is quite important to me. Something that I will be driving, aggressively, so to speak, because it's quite important that, women don't have to choose between their 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 jobs versus the sport that they're playing, the things that we had to choose between, so we have to find a way for women to earn a living out of playing football or out of playing netball or out of playing whichever sport that they choose to play, so they can put food on the table, they can put food on the table for their own families, from through using their own talents in sport. I think that for me is quite important. But I've got 5 years, I might not achieve all these things within the 5 years, but it's important that I plant that seed. Sometimes you plant a seed that, the tree is going to grow maybe in 7 years time. People who are going to eat the fruit from that tree are probably going to eat that, the fruits in 15 years time, 20 years time. But if we don't plant the seed now, the question is, where are we going to get those fruits? So it's quite important that for in the next 5 years, I plant those kind of seeds. I put, those kind of policies, in place, review the policies that are in place and ensure that, they're also favoring the women that come into the workspace, the football workspace. The policies are more women friendly, so to speak. So we can encourage more women to come on board. They don't say, football is more for men, me because I'm a mother, that space is not good for me because I must work on weekends, I must work, during holidays, those kind of things, you need to consider to ensure that the women also can get into the place, but they can also still achieve the kind of things that they want to be achieved and be included, a more inclusive environment and a more diversified environment. Because for me, diversity is quite important in the workplace. You can't have the voice of only men, in the boardroom, or it's quite important that we bring the female voice, you bring different races, different genders. It's important that we have that kind of balanced environment. It's quite important for me.
I'm excited looking at you holding this very important position, Lydia. I know that you have to leave. Thank you so much for, gracing us with your presence, and our deepest condolences do go out to you. And thank you once again for making the time.
Thank you. Like I'll leave you with a message, from
Sure.
Charlotte Maxeke. She said, if you do something great, or you have to bring someone, don't go into a position and be saying I'm the first woman to do ABC, XYZ, and close the door. Like Dumisani said, you have to keep the door open. So it's important that we bring other people on board. We mustn't be the first and the last. We must help others come on board as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. Oh, do me pressure. pressure in just making sure that, you know, you're the first and you need to, like you say, you're also doing it for the people around you, the women around you, and the women that are following as well. Are you feeling the pressure?
Pressure, what's that? What is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think lucky for me, because I was an athlete and I'm still involved in high performance sport as a coach, as an administrator. We thrive on pressure because pressure is an opportunity for you to really either sharpen your strengths or improve your weaknesses. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow beyond what you actually even knew yourself. So, pressure, not really. And I think most women place unnecessary pressure on themselves because they get into a position of like, huh, I'm a female. Yo, everyone is watching me. Yes, everyone is watching you and you're going to be just fine. You cannot place unnecessary or extra pressure on yourself by wanting to do things the way the men do things. There's a reason you're a woman. We as women need to focus on how we are going to do things the way we women are going to do it. And it's not necessarily about changing things. It's about bringing the feminine touch to it. I mean, I was about to go into a bit of psychology. I'm just checking the time now. A bit of psychology in terms of how men think and how women think and how we do things, how we process information and implement or do things based on the information we've received and how we've processed it. So myself, I refuse to put myself under pressure because there's no reason for me to want to do things the way they've always been done, number one, or to want to do things the way that the men do it. I'm a female. I am Dumisani Chauke. I am one of one. I need to come in and do things the way I think are going to be beneficial for the team that I have around me and the student community that we will be servicing out in Garankuwa. So it's not about someone else putting the pressure on you. If you're going to allow people to put pressure on you, then you're determining the outcomes as well, and you cannot allow that.
Yeah. And then there are those, I know the HOD, Kekopaspan.
I've already received so many of those. I'm like, I don't work at HR, guys. I don't work at HR. I have no control on what happens there. So so the word of advice that I say to like the youngsters, like we've got student assistants here and some of the female sport organizers or officers here, I share with them and I tell them, listen, stay ready. Opportunities are going to come. Again, if you are not ready when the opportunity comes, you will not be the one to get the opportunity. It will go to someone else. So yeah that's it.
Wow. Kimara, all the best as well. And in closing, what would you like to say, to everyone that is watching right now?
It was a very productive session, I think. My final words are, just be persistent and courageous and build those networks. Because, as women, we uplift each other. We wouldn't be, I personally feel like I wouldn't be where I am without the woman who gave me opportunities and, allowed me to venture in my craft and get all that experience that I needed. So yeah, I believe that, you have to bring on more women, and create this community where it's going to be women in leadership positions. And that's what we want. We want women to be in the boardroom. We want women to be coaching. We want women to be HODs, do me. So I think that, there's so much room for growth and we're here now. So we're going to have to pull along some other women with us.
Most definitely. And that is how we come to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, ladies, as well, for giving that advice. I hope that everyone just got, because, hey, man, I took notes and note after note. So I'm hoping that Everyone else did. I think just in closing, I'd also just like to bring in Mama Ntambi, just to wrap things up, but because she's always been in leadership position, just to wrap it up for us as well. Mama Ntambi.
Not much, because of all I wanted to say is that these ladies had covered almost everything, and what I proud myself on, and especially with SAWAFs, is the fact that we are seeing more women coming into leadership positions. And I think it's very much important that we support each other. I wouldn't stress that enough. We need to support each other in all those positions, but also those who are in positions, they have to shout to request for support if possibly we are not aware about their needs. But all in all, I think we need to support each other. It's very much important that we support each other. I know there's competition sometimes where we are looking at the same positions at the same time, and positions are very few. And as women, all of us would want those positions. But let's first look at ourselves to say, am I the best candidate for the position? Isn't it Dumisani the best candidate? And then I will withdraw my position. So it's very much important for us to think about ourselves, not about me alone, but about us as a team. And that's my closing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you to everyone that tuned in as well on Facebook and on WhatsApp. Until we do it again, bye. And stay safe, please. Please stay safe. Bye.
Bye.